Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadambi Reads the Holy Books of India, Ramayana 114. As you may remember, Sita was praying to the river Ganga. I will worship you again after we return. I have no doubt that my prayers will be answered, since you are ever bountiful with your gifts. You are famed in all the three worlds. You are the favored queen of the ocean. I prostrate before you, and when we come back, and when my Lord goes back to his city, I will give away gifts of gold and cows to Brahmins to please you. Grant that we return safely to Ayodhya. Soon they reached the southern banks of the Ganga. Rama abandoned the boat and sent it back to Guha. He then spoke to Lakshman. You should be alert always, Lakshman. We should remember to protect Sita. You walk first, and Sita will follow. I will walk behind, and thus we will proceed. This will be the best way to pursue our journey. If something happens in spite of all caution, it will be then beyond our power to rectify it. In a mood of affection for me, Sita has undertaken this difficult life in the forest. It's not going to be easy for her. From here onwards, there will be no habitation, and as such, the paths will be difficult to follow. There will be ups and downs, and we must guard her very vigilantly. And so they entered the forest, Lakshman in the lead, Sita in the middle, and Rama bringing up the rear. Sumantra, who was watching them as he stood on the northern bank of the Ganga, stood still and watched until they were out of sight. Wiping his tears, he turned away from the southern bank, his eyes which could see nothing any longer. 22. The third night of exile. When evening approached, the three travelers, Lakshman, Sita, and Rama, reached a big tree whose shade seemed to be large enough to accommodate all three of them. They watched the sun set and then sat down under the tree. Rama said, Lakshman, this is the first night we are spending outside the country. We do not have even the company of Sumantra. I can see that your emotions are still beyond your control. That should not be so. Compose yourself. Tonight we can spend here spreading the leaves on the ground. They lay down on the ground and spent the night conversing about Ayodhya and the king. Rama said the king will be sunk in sorrow tonight. As for Keiki, she'll be extremely happy since her desire has been achieved. A sudden fear is now frightening me. Once Bharata is made the Yuvaraja, will Keiki leave my father alive? What will my unfortunate father do? Alone as he is without me by his side, old in body, unhappy in mind, and entirely in the power of Keiki because of his love for her. Lakshman, when I think of this change in the mind of the king and his sorrow, I feel that Kama is more powerful than Dharma, Artha, and Moksha. Or else how could he have banished me to the forest? For the sake of his wife, which father will abandon his son, who has ever been obedient and loving toward him? Even an ordinary illiterate man will hesitate to do that. I hope Bharata will be able to rule the great Koshal, unassisted by anyone. If perchance my father loses his life because of the sorrow caused by separation from me, Bharata will have to be alone with the burden of ruling the kingdom. King Dasaratha, who has sacrificed his Dharma and Artha because of his Kama, which held him under its sway, I am afraid will leave us soon. Keiki, who will be deluded by the power which will be hers, perhaps we'll banish our mothers and their dependents. Lakshmana, I'm worried about them. Why should Sumitra suffer for my sake? I think you should go back to Ayodhya. I will have Sita with me, and we will live together in the forest. You should go back and protect your mother and mine from the possible tyranny of Keiki. She hates my mother, and she is likely to be cruel enough to do injustices to the two queens. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.